Crime hurts, so justice should heal. That's the philosophy behind restorative justice, a novel and Christ-like way to approach criminal justice and conflict resolution. To learn how the method is being employed in Chicago schools and communities, we welcome Father Larry Dowling, pastor of St. Agatha's Church and St. Agatha's Academy in Chicago's North Lawndale community. Father Dowling is also a congregational organizer with the Community Renewal Society. And we welcome Kian Mays Lenoir, a 17-year-old Christ the King Jesuit College Prep School student and a member of First Baptist Congregational Church. And we welcome Brian Harris, a 14-year-old Lane Tech College Prep High School student and a member of Community Renewal Society's Faith in Action team. Brian attends Kingdom Baptist Church on the west side. Thank you all for joining us. I appreciate it.
Good to be with you.
And Father Dowling, let's talk a little bit, maybe you can start out and explain what restorative justice is all about.
So restorative justice is a practice that brings all of those involved in conflict together to resolve that conflict in a peaceful way where there's discussion around what, where the conflict arises from. Oftentimes, not necessarily, the roots of the conflict are not necessarily what actually is happening and what is being stated in the conflict. So it's an opportunity for all of the parties who are involved to come together and to share what is going on in the midst of that, and then to come to some resolution that restores them, hopefully back to the situations that they were in. So, for example, with schools, if there's conflict in school, bringing students, maybe the teachers together, maybe the parents together, and then in the midst of all of that group talking out the conflict, and so that the students can enter back into the classroom and continue to learn.
This isn't really a new concept.
It's not. It's been around. I mean, it has its roots in Native American culture and in African culture, and but it's relatively new in terms of the practices that are really being encouraged. We've had a prison system that has been pretty much about retribution rather than rehabilitation, and I think there are a lot of people that are realizing that we've got to do better by everyone in the midst of this, and so restorative justice is just a great way to approach that.
And so how is the Community Renewal Society implementing this? So
we are in the process of trying to form peace hubs, and the root and the core of the peace hub is really building these restorative justice practices. So one of those practices is what are called peacemaking circles. Peacemaking circles are an opportunity for people to come together to, in an equal place as Christians, we say in a sacred place where they can share, where there are four basic values that people share in the midst of, and that is that it is confidential within the circle, that it is that everyone listens to the person that is speaking, that it's respectful, and that it is non-judgmental.
And Kian, as a high school senior, how are you involved in restorative justice?
Well, my church is part of CRS, and they asked me to do a speech about gun violence and gang violence in Chicago. After that, I joined a social justice club at my school, and we put on a very successful event called the Peace Tournament, and we teamed up with former NBA star Isaiah. And it was basically we brought together ex-gang members and current gang members to play scrimmages of basketball against each other. And we basically showed the community that if they can get together to play basketball with one another, that they can also get together and be in unity with one another. So that was a really big thing.
Brian, tell me a little bit about your involvement in this, and what's the Faith Action team?
So Faith in Action teams are teams within the churches of about 5 to 15 people who work together to think of issues in the community that they have and what they can do to fix them. And so I worked with my Faith in Action team with my church, and what we've done, we've worked with the community to find issues, based on violence and with the youth, and providing programs for the youth to have after school so they won't have to turn to violence. And we've traveled to Springfield to talk to legislators about sealing the records for nonviolent offenders so that they are able to have job opportunities and not only have them, but to receive them as well.
How do the youth respond to this? Are they pretty open with you in talking about these conflicts?
Yes, I believe that the youth are very open because sometimes most of the youth, they don't have that type of guidance at home from parents, so they look to it. So when you have someone who's very young and they need that guidance, they're very open and willing to take your understanding and your leadership because they only want to make themselves better.
And do you see some kind of resolution in a lot of these cases?
Yes, especially I have one friend, I won't list their name, but he has been struggling with bullying. And so being able to have someone to talk to help them with strategies to solve this, he has become a greater person with more confidence in things.
That's great. And have you seen the same thing, Kian, in your community? Can you think of any kind of conflicts that you've helped to resolve?
Well, in my school, I am a peer minister, which basically means a peer mentor. So a lot of students come to me about their conflicts and their struggles, and the other team that I have with peer ministers, we all try to get together to figure out what was the core of that conflict and to solve it before it increases or worsens. And in that sense, it's a very successful thing because, like what he mentioned before, a lot of kids are able to relate with other kids. It's hard for a child to go to an adult and it really tell the real issue and the real problem. So when they come to us, we're able to solve it and also help them on an individual growth and help them grow from whatever issue they had.
How important do you think that this kind of resolution and conflict resolution is in the schools that we have today and in today's society?
I think it's essential that this become a part of of every school. That we find ways to to teach our children and teach our teachers and teach administration and everyone that works with the kids, including counselors, cafeteria workers, all sorts of different people on on conflict resolution and how to solve conflict peaceably. So to set up within schools, peace rooms where it's a natural thing for students when there's conflict that happens to say, we need to go to the peace room, or to say to their teacher, we need to go to the peace room, and the person who is in charge of that would help resolve the conflict. If we can do more and more of this, I think to create peaceable schools, it clearly makes it a lot easier for teachers to teach and children to learn, and I think it's just a really key part. Plus, so much of this, if we teach it to our children in the school, I have found carries over into the home because especially teenagers will take some of these strategies home with them, and when there's conflict at home, they will say, there's a different way to solve this, that I learned at school.
And Brian, what personally have you learned from working with Restorative Justice and the Community Renewal Society?
Well, with CRS and Restorative Justice, I've learned that there is a way out of no way when there feels like there's no hope. And especially with working with teens within my church, I've seen it happen constantly every day. Oh, I have a problem with a friend, I'm being bullied, or I feel unsafe going to school. With Restorative Justice, there's someone there to help you in the midst of that. And I feel like personally it's a great way to solve problems, unlike violence.
And Kian, your personal take on your involvement with CRS?
When I gave the speech in front of Illinois congressmen and House representatives, one of my main things in the speech was that it's sad that me and my friends already planned our funerals. And if restorative justice was in the communities, majority of the youth would not result to shooting or gang violence because that conflict would have been ceased right then and there, and also they would have someone to go to. I know a lot of people that don't have someone to go to, and that also raises up personal anger or personal aggression that will lead to that bigger conflict that causes someone dying or some mother burying their child.
Father Dowling, Kian, and Brian, thank you so much for bringing this message of hope and reconciliation. We appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And I'm Anne Marie Gerhardt for Different Drummers and the Greater Chicago Broadcast Ministries. Keep the faith.